introduce yourself.
My name's Mark Johnson, and I'm the CEO founder of a charity called User Voice. I'm an ex-offender. I run a social enterprise called Can Do Coffee, which employs vulnerable people, and I'm an Ashoka Fellow, a visiting associate of Durham University, Pride of Britain winner, best-selling author. The list goes on, you know. But I suppose really my experience, my life experience, is my qualification, and that's really what sort of makes me qualified to do what I do. Well, firstly, I'm quite puzzled with the whole title, because when we say transforming rehabilitation, it suggests that there's going to be an element of unlocking some of the barriers that we've historically had in place, i.e. This sort of colonialist approach to solving crime, but what the how that's interpreted, the subject interpreted at Ministry of Justice or politically, is really budget reduction and opening the market up to private sector involvement. That's what it is doing justice services on the cheap, and putting a commercial model over what's typically been public service led or third sector. There's a lot of potential disadvantage. The transforming rehabilitation and putting a commercial aspect to behaviour change is not applicable. Binary and frequency measures, the way they're going to measure the success of this, is not applicable. It's about behavioural change. A reoffence is inevitable. Yeah. Most, we've got the history that tells us that 75% of young offenders reoffend, 50%, and that's what the numbers we're all obsessed with. But actually, if you flipped it over into, say, drug treatment, a lapse for a drug addict is part of getting long-term rehabilitation and recovery from addiction, because I'll call it the teachable moment. But what happens is, within services for offenders, for instance, is that's the moment, and actually in the new Transforming Rehabilitation, that's the moment that people won't be paid to work with somebody. But what I would say is that's the critical time to work with somebody. And it's through those teachable moments, the lapse, the relapse, the recommitting of offence, that people can learn. And if we put resource behind them, we could go some way into getting them into successful living. One is the historic thing that service users have said, and the charity that I'm involved with, basically we're community led, we're peer led. And we've got models all over the country and stuff. And the thing, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times, and that is lack of consistency with helping me to change within the service, right? So I've had 30 probation officers, in 2 years of my order. I've never had a visit in prison. Everybody that comes to meet me doesn't prepare for developing a relationship with me, and never have. Often you've had contact with public services all your life, social services, police, yachts, probation, prison, and there's no consistency in relationship. And what service users want and need to protect the public, I might add, is to develop a relationship with somebody who can help them and enable them to reach successful living and making healthier choices and decisions. And with the new Transforming Rehabilitation agenda, the way that it's commissioned has a commercial structure to it. So in which case, it's all about, they will be wanting to reduce cost at every twist and turn to basically pick up a profit, you know, at the other end. Yeah, I mean, this is, forget the Transforming Rehabilitation agenda. It's been an historical problem, full stop, right? And that is, people who want to do good work or do good work on the ground, it's busy doing it. They don't have often the infrastructure, yeah, to be able to compete, to go for funding, because they're too busy doing the work. And then people that are good at the bids, the infrastructure, the chugging away at the computer, and you know, and unlocking sort of PR for themselves, are often get access to the money. And I've always been really frustrated with that. The other thing is, this world of criminal justice is not the most PRable bit of work. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, my big problem with TR is, when you've got this commercial agenda, you've got your primes, your tier ones and your tier twos providers. What the government have done within the designing the dynamics of that commercial structure is, let's have a look at third sector organisation and the use of it. Historically, it's unrestricted income, it's allowed to do really good bits of innovation for it to succeed or fail, and it's independent. And in the design of the TR contracts, what has started to happen is they will all be kind of public servants. And what my reservation is how that affects relationships on the ground. So from being a system befriend service to then being contracted by public service and being given the power to breach or to note back on any kind of risks that people pose, you alter the dynamics of helping people through that change process. I don't think that it will be healthy, what we're going into. There is so many unanswered, detailed questions that everybody that I've met, that whether they're senior MOJ to the small third sector organisation locally, there is so many details that haven't been considered, and there's such a lack of information from it that I can't at this point see anything positive.